Mark, the 7th chapter. Now when the Pharisees and some of the scribes who had come from Jerusalem gathered around him, they noticed that some of his disciples were eating with defiled hands, that is, without washing them. For the Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they thoroughly wash their hands, thus observing the tradition of the elders. And they do not eat anything from the market unless they wash it. And there are also many other traditions that they observe, the washing of cups, pots, and bronze kettles. So the Pharisees and the scribes asked him, "Why do your disciples not live according to the tradition of the elders, but eat with defiled hands?" He said to them, "Isaiah prophesied rightly about you hypocrites, as it is written, 'This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching human precepts as doctrines. You abandon the commandment of God and hold to human tradition.'" Then he called the crowd again and said to them, "Listen to me, all of you, and understand. There is nothing outside a person that by going in can defile, but the things that come out are what defile. For it is from within, from the human heart, that evil intentions come: fornication, theft, murder, adultery, avarice, wickedness, deceit, licentiousness, envy, slander, pride, folly. All these evil things come from within, and they defile a person." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
Please be seated. So I owe you an apology because when I received the bulletin on Thursday, I called the office to say, "Oh, I chose one of the other lectionary scriptures to preach on, and it's not included in the bulletin. I chose the Song of Solomon." And they said, "Oh, well, we're all on vacation, and we're not going to be in the office for the rest of the week, so we can't change it. So you'll just have to just do what you want to do." So I'm not preaching on this lovely text from Mark, which should be kind of a relief because it's kind of a difficult text. But I'm preaching on something a lot more pleasant. It comes from the Song of Solomon, Shir HaShirim in Hebrew, the Song of All Songs. And it's from the 2nd chapter, we're reading from verse 8 to verse 13. Listen now for the words of our text. "The voice of my beloved, look, he comes, leaping upon the mountains, bounding over the hills. My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing in at the windows, looking through the lattice. My beloved speaks and says to me, 'Arise, my love, my fair one, and come away. For now the winter is past, the rain is over and gone. The flowers appear on the earth, the time of singing has come. And the voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land. The fig tree puts forth its figs, and the vines are in blossom. They give forth fragrance. Arise, my love, my fair one, and come away." This is the word of the Lord. The Song of Songs, also known as the Song of Solomon, is a love song. Down through the centuries, it has been interpreted as symbolizing the love between God and Israel, and as the love between Jesus and the church, as well as simply a love song between a man and a woman. The book of Revelation, the prophetic account of the transition of all things at the end of this age, calls the church the bride of Christ and Jesus the bridegroom. It mentions the marriage supper of the Lamb, a celebratory event in heaven that takes place after God has gathered all who belong to him into his heavenly kingdom. For this reason, there is a scriptural basis for laying claim to the Song of Solomon as a prophetic love song between Christ and his church, the bridegroom and the bride. This love song reveals to us that the love that Jesus has for us is not just a general collective love, but a very personal love that sees each one of us as an individual who is greatly cherished by him. He loves each one of us as if we were his only one. He has created a special love for us, for each of us, that only each of us can receive, each one receiving the love created for him or her. So you are the one for whom Jesus has created his special love for you, and only you can receive it. How great is God's love for us, that in Jesus Christ, he who made the universe has become the loving bridegroom to each and every one of us. At every moment, Jesus yearns to spend time with us. He yearns to communicate his love to us. In the Song of Solomon, the bridegroom reaches out to summon us in love to become his faithful bride, and he waits patiently for our response. The Song of Solomon is a call to the loving relationship that Jesus gave his life in order to have with each one of us. So, what will be our response? In the larger context of the song, the bridegroom first comes to his bride-elect and knocks on her door. When she finally gets up and opens the door, he has disappeared. And she goes on a long journey around the town to look for him. As she goes, her heart grows more and more enraptured with love for her beloved bridegroom until she is absolutely sick with love. She meets people in the streets who abuse her, but she continues searching for her beloved and asking those whom she meets if they have seen him and where she might find him. Excuse me. Her journey is a long one, as her bridegroom remains hidden from her. She finally spots him, running and leaping toward her, full of love for her, and they go off together to celebrate their union in the beauty of a fragrant spring garden amidst fresh ripe fruits. Each of us is on that journey toward our bridegroom, Jesus Christ. Our journeys may look different in detail, but their pattern is the same. First, when we don't know of him consciously, he comes to us and knocks on the door of our heart. We then realize that he is the one whom our very soul has always loved. He is the one for whom we were created to love. Only he can complete us. Afterwards, there are times when he seems to vanish from our perception. That is when our journey to find him begins. Our whole life becomes a journey, an opportunity to search for him and to find him. If we diligently search for him with all our heart, we will find him. And the overwhelming joy of that union will last for an eternity. Since each of our journeys is unique, I invite you to take the time at home to trace your own journey toward Christ and to write it down. It is an exercise that will be both cathartic and revelatory. It should begin when you first sense that first knock of Jesus Christ on your heart. And then the journey through the desert times when you could not perceive his presence. And the times also of comfort when you were fully aware of Jesus' presence in your life. It can conclude with your hope and faith in a future where you will live forever with him in his kingdom, based on Jesus' promise that he is coming back for his bride and he is soon to return. As an example, I'd like to share with you my own personal journey toward Christ. It is entitled, My Beloved, and it responds in kind to the poetic call of the Song of Songs, also using poetic form. First, you came to me in Sunday school lessons, in hymns of faith, and sermons that challenged and comforted, in Luther League and in family Bible readings and prayers. Then there was winter. Closed in warm, loving arms, mother, father, sisters, brothers, the chill surrounded us. I waited for you. Men, white hats, threatened, burned, lynched. Benevolent leaders were assassinated. Just when I thought change would come, I longed for you. 4 little girls like me, bombed into bits and pieces, blood and flesh and Sunday school booklets all meshed together. Books that had taught about your great love for us. I searched for you, and you comforted me unseen. A bus burning, smoldering at the intersection where my street touched the edge of downtown Anniston, Alabama. Freedom riders in tears. I looked around for you. and you calmed my fears unheard. Daddy walked back to the car, no fish dinner in hand. We don't serve no niggers here, they had told him. Go around the back if you want something. As we drove away, I looked skyward for some sign of you. But it was still winter. Why should I have accepted warmth? Why should I have expected warmth? I looked up to the sky from my bed in our back bedroom. I sang songs to you, songs of longing. I chose the North for higher education. What could the cruel South teach me? Alabama had not been so beautiful. I hoped to find you elsewhere. I heard the voice of my beloved clearly in the welcoming words of Bonnie Lisco, "You'd do well in Paris." I glimpsed you there. But late winter days easily deceive those who are too hopeful. I pulled in the line, but it was empty. My prayers for you still unanswered. Where is my beloved? How can I find him? Has he fallen in Vietnam? Does he languish in some jail or prison for lifting his eyes too high or being too successful? Where is my beloved? Does he still dangle from the cross or lynching rope? Can you tell me where I might find him? For I am sick with love. My beloved drew me, and I believed his words. Then a clever impostor enticed me. My open heart was harnessed and fell like fine, breaking crystal. Again and again I fell. Again and again I was broken. When will my true beloved come to rescue me and to heal my brokenness? Alone, I felt myself forsaken. Pieces on the ground, still called, where is my beloved? The one whom my soul loves. Then I fell silent, too full of unrequited love to speak. Winter was long and lonely. Days drug on in work and rest. Joy and sorrow passed almost unnoticed. Hope held on, clenching. Silence and emptiness. A cold hearth and a vacant home. Where is my beloved? I wait. I wait. Look, he comes, riding on a cloud brighter than the sun, and a gold sash across his chest. King of kings and Lord of lords, we see him and he sees us. I see him and he sees me. His love is palpable, warm, and tender. I am lifted up as if drawn by a magnet, swiftly flying to his side. We embrace. Winter vanishes instantly. The dawn of eternal spring has come. My beloved is here. He loves me as if I were the only one he loved. Yet he loves each of us just as strongly. Enraptured, I forget every winter. Healed, I forget every pain. Alive forever, I forget every death. Loved and loving, every hurt vanishes away. I am whole because I and my beloved are one. Amen.